Welcome to the Journey 2020. I'm Charles Morris. Happy to have you here with me, where we're here every Monday at 7 p.m. at www.thejourney2020.com. We're also live on Facebook, Twitter, and Periscope, and where we ask that you subscribe to us on YouTube and like us on Facebook. And as you know, we come to you every Monday. As my old co-host used to say, Dr. Robertson would say, the journey is from me to you and from you to me, so we can reach a high level. Me to you, you to me. All right? So we can reach a high level. And that's what we try to do right here every Monday. And we talk about some fun stuff, and we also talk about some serious stuff. The third Monday of every month, of course, for those who are familiar with the show, you're very familiar with Dr. Kathy Meeks. She's from Robertson and Associates. She is our sex therapist, and we have a lot of fun with her. But she's serious because one of the things that she says that in her sessions and in her workshops, and for the people who come to see her, she really, I guess she shouldn't be for the field that she works in, but more and more people come to see her, and it's I guess an indication of where we are now in the times and how we are dealing with so many issues and problems. And so we make light of it, but she's serious about what she does, and the whole point of her coming on is to just try to deal with and fight through some of our dysfunctions and our mindsets, and to try to unlearn some things so we can have better relationships. And there's nothing more important than the family, mother, father, children, and the whole foundation the way God intended it to be. And that's why my guest every fourth Monday is so important, as I see that he is here, where he is here every Monday, every fourth Monday. He is from Young Fathers of Central Florida, and for those who have been around for a while, know that he has one of the most important programs probably in the United States of America. There's plenty of us doing lots of things, and he's one of the plenty. And I always tell him, I say, I'm so thankful that how God put something on his heart, and he follows through with it, and he's very passionate about what he does, and that he is and it's funny, because if you don't know about Young Fathers of Central Florida, I really encourage you to Google it, look it up, and find out more information. They are always looking for volunteers, but he is going to come on, and I always tell him that you have to go into, every time you come on the show, you have to take a minute or two to tell us about Young Fathers of Central Florida and the programs within the program. And so he's going to do that as well. But I say he has one of the most important programs, probably any of all the programs, and understanding the intent, the way God intended it to be, and that is a mother, father, children, the foundation and the essence of our society, and how we're supposed to exist among ourselves. And with that being said, I gotta have the brother come on and say, welcome, frat. How you doing on this beautiful, hey man, it's springtime. It's springtime. Yes, it is. How you doing? How you doing?
Doing excellent. Excellent. How about yourself?
Hey man, any day above ground, I am great. I'm great. Listen, I want to ask you, have you slowed down any? Have you gotten some rest since your conference?
No, we preparing for these grants. We got a couple of grants. We had to get the intent letter in last week. Now we just putting the wheels on it, and they're due April 17th. So we don't have much time between that and tax season. Because this is a very busy time for fathers, and in this country, because so many of them come to you because they have the income tax check held because they didn't pay child support. So I get so many brothers. Oh, Miss Haki, you gotta help me, man. They got my check. What am I gonna do? I said, well, ain't much I can do for you at this point. You haven't been paying child support, so that's one thing that the IRS will take your income tax check,
But
and they ain't gonna give you a piece of it or nothing. You owe if you owe what you expect to get, you're not gonna get anything. So they ain't gonna look out for you. It's Haki, they not gonna look out for me. No, they ain't looking out for you. So they'll garnish your check. They all know they garnish the check and they'll put you in jail, but they will take that income tax check away. So this is a busy time of season for us. We get twice as many calls in the month of April, between March and April. We get so many calls from fathers 40 years old, 50 years old. I said, man, this is your father in Central Florida, not old brothers behind in child support.
I mean, I hate to laugh, but I can only imagine. So my question to you, from the time of March and April, your phone calls are a little different than the regular time than the rest of the year.
They increase and they different. They increase and they different. And they urgent. They all seem to be urgent, like they didn't know the income tax check was going to be taken. That
Now,
child support had that check.
Now, let me ask you something. Now, as you speak of this, are you surprised? First of all, are there any repeat guys, those phone calls? And are you surprised by how they don't know? Are you surprised that they're surprised that that is taking place?
We get repeat callers. We get repeat offenders. But yes, it's surprising sometimes when you get older fathers, older than 35 years old, to act like they have no idea that they're not going to take the income tax check away. Because see, what happens, Chuck, is that they get away with it sometimes. They get away with it for a couple years, so they think, okay, dang, I got my check and I'll have back child support. So they think it's going to keep happening. But once they lock in on you, that's it.
Well, yeah.
So and so some of these guys, they have, 20, 30, $40,000. So they won't see an income tax check for a long time.
Wow.
Once they get you,
Now,
that's it.
okay, before we get into more of what we're talking about, let's introduce you, Young Fathers of Central Florida. So you're going to have to kind of give us a slight little intro of what you do and what Young Fathers of Central Florida is here
Young
in the
Fathers Central Florida. Young Fathers Central Florida is a nonprofit 501c3 community-based organization which provides programs to teen and young fathers and father figures, grandparents, mothers, grandmothers. So we're a family-based organization. Majority of our programs are designed for fathers under the age of 24. But for example, our dad-to-dad mentoring program, where we match an older dad with a younger dad for a 1-year commitment. Our Teen Fatherhood Academy, which is for 14 and 19-year-olds, high school age students. Then we have parent training, father support groups. That's for all parents. We let moms, dads, grandparents, father figures, any person that's involved in a child's life. It can be cousins, uncles. We allow to attend our parent training programs. Then we provide programs in a correctional facility, Orange County Correctional Facility. We provide programs at the college level. We started in 2013 at Bethune-Cookman University. We have programs in the recreation centers system in the city of Orlando. We have a case management program for fathers with Orange County. And then we have our Just a Gentleman program, which is a character and etiquette program for 10 to 13-year-old boys. So we also added the STEM education piece to the Just a Gentleman program. So it used to be a 8-week program. Now it's a 12-week program. We added 4 weeks of the STEM education. So those are some of the programs that we provide.
Okay. And you do a great job. Now, there's a gentleman, Sterling, and boy, I wish we could have him on the show, because you know what he just said here on Facebook? He said that that's the longest child support system is slavery. I've said for the longest that the child support system is slavery. I don't quite know what that means. I can't even begin to understand what that means. So Sterling, can you help me to understand? I'm just asking, and I'm gonna get back to you, Haki, but he just stated, he said, I've said for the longest that the child support system is slavery. Don't quite know
So
what
this is
that
on
means.
Facebook. You got questions on Facebook?
Yeah. So I don't quite know what that means, because if somebody's taking a check or taking money, it's because you're not taking care of your child. So I don't quite know what that means in a sense. Now, and I'm pretty sure, Haki, and you can address this. There's times and situations where the system, whether or not the paperwork got screwed up, because they're very good at taking money, but they're not good at giving money back that they're supposed to give back to you either. Now, I know that's a problem. So have you have dealt with people trying to get money back because they owe the father or even the mother money that's been taken, and then they realize the mistake and now the money is supposed to be returned? Have you ever dealt with any of
No.
those cases?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Simple as that. There's cases out there, but they're one in thousands. So guys who usually talk about how the child support system is this, is that, is messed up, that's usually cases where they didn't understand something. They didn't quite clearly get it, because we have a lot of our young fathers who think, for example, if they have a child support order, they think that, let's say they pay $100 a week.
Okay.
So they think that if they don't pay that, but they buy the child some sneakers or what have you, let's say the sneakers cost $50. Then some of these young guys think that they only have to pay $50 since they bought the kids some sneakers, instead of adhering to their child support order of $100. And then when the court tells them that that's just a gift, then they say, oh, the child support system is backwards and messed up. It's usually they didn't quite understand it. I'm not saying that now there's guys who intentionally try to play the system. Just how there's women who intentionally play the system. So, I go case by case. I don't listen to all this child support is so horrible, it's against the man, it's this and that. I don't even listen to all that garbage. I go case by case. There's cases I've had where child support had went as far as arrested a father because of lack of child support, but he was able to prove that he was paying his child support, and not by gifts, but actually paying it. We've had guys who they garnished their check, so they was taking the money out their check, but child support said they wasn't paying. So
Wow.
child support has screwed up a lot of people in a lot of ways. But I go case by case. I don't just put a whole blanket over it. I mean, you got guys running around with $20,000, $30,000 in arrears and driving around in nice cars, nice clothes, balling out, and not taking care of their responsibility. So, and a lot of them, which the ones that disturb me are the ones who use the mother like, oh, I don't like that victim, I don't like her, or she's foul, or so they don't pay their child support because she cursed them out or what have you. I don't like when they use those excuses. So with me, I go by case because
Right.
every case is different. They are not the same. So
Well, Well,
I don't spend a whole bunch of time on that.
I have somebody that I know personally, and this was a while back. And unfortunately, his ex, he was married for over 20 years. And it was one of those breakups where, not to get into it, but he was a really good guy. Okay, he was a really good guy, and his ex was just a monster. Okay, I'm not just saying that. She was one of these people, not to talk about that, but she was one of these people that would do any and everything to just try and hurt him. So if the opportunity came for her to have him arrested, she would take advantage of it. And so he was always trying to be timely on his payments. And then when he lost his job, and that's when I actually found out a lot about child support, because when they came and arrested him, he called me and he needed like $200 because he was calling around trying to get the money together, you know. And that's when I found out, like, oh, you know, because when I got the phone call from him, that was when I found out, like, oh, they can arrest you? And they're like, yeah, man. My ex called and they came and got me, and he was like, man, if he had lost his job, so he really didn't have the money. And I've learned from you that he didn't do what he needed to do to go make the adjustments, you know,
Right.
because right, and he didn't, you know, he didn't know to go do. I don't know if he. Well, I know he didn't. So he didn't go
Right.
make the adjustments. She was like thrilled the fact that she could go have him arrested, and so he was in jail. So that's how I found out about that, from that situation. Now Sterling said something. I'm going to read what he said in a minute, but from that situation, he did get out, bond out, and of course, you know where the money went. And then I had another friend, the same thing happened. I think he needed to pay $5,000. He was arrested, and he came up with the $5,000, and you know. So I've had a couple of friends that were arrested, and of course, we know where the money goes, but they were behind. That's why they were arrested.
Yeah. They, case by case, man. You know, and that's why we do so much training on child support, and even our Just the Gentleman, our 10 to 13-year-old boys, our prevention program. We talk about child support there, so they can clearly understand. Before you start having these babies with these young women who you don't even know and you don't even care much about, understand there are going to be repercussions. You know, so if you have a child, or you with a young woman, you having sex, and you guys don't talk about pregnancy at all, abortions, whether she's for abortions, against, or you know, whether if she gets pregnant, what do you think you're gonna do? Some young ladies will tell you, I'm not ever getting an abortion. They tell you, but the guys still have unprotected sex with them. And then some women don't tell them. Some women, you know that they're gonna keep this baby, but they don't tell him that. That look, if
Well,
I get pregnant, I'm keeping this baby.
well,
So
um,
a lot of times, you know, and you should see the faces of the little 10, 12 years old, 11 years old. They say, what we do, we take some pay stubs, and we have a pay stub of a young man who don't have any kids, and the pay stub with the one who have like one, two, three kids. And they confused. They say, Miss Haki, they took all his money. I said, well, that's what you preparing yourself for. So when
well,
you start, especially if you want to have multiple kids at a very young age, you're still a teenager, it's going to be a while before you look at a good check, because you know you're going to have money taken out of those checks.
right,
So case by case,
right. A
but
couple
they
of
need
things
to
that
know that
Sterling
they
said.
can get modifications.
Right. A couple of things that he said. He said child support determination virtually. Now, I'm not quite sure what you mean by this, brother. He says unreasonable and unrealistic. I don't know what that means. A man often is a slave to the system that makes life uncomfortable for him. If he doesn't, then he end up in jail. Brother Haki, I don't have kids, but I have many friends who've been caught up in the child support system. What resources are available? Well, the resources is a key.
Yeah,
What are the
they can
resources
contact us.
available? What are the resources available to help brothers who unjustly caught up? is what he's asking.
Yeah, they can contact us. I mean, they can go to our website. We do constant training on child support. We work with numerous lawyers. We work with at least 20 lawyers who are family lawyers. They work with family. They work with child support. We have a good working relationship with child support enforcement, Florida Department of Revenue. We even have situations where fathers have gotten their license suspended, and we help them get their license back simply because they committed to working with us. So we've gotten guys checks not to be garnished, you know, driver's license, professional license, because they can take if you're a plumber, you're an electrician, they can take all that away. So we work with these fathers. So that's why we want to educate fathers so they don't get caught up. Because most of the fathers that get caught up, they get caught up because they don't know. Like I've had fathers who had jobs, lost their jobs, and paid the same amount for 2-3 years, and they didn't even have a job. And they didn't realize that they could go to court and get their child support modified. Right. But he was trying to be a good guy and still make his payments, but he didn't have that same job he had because they base child support on your income, on your reported income. Right.
And so, yeah, and that's what in Sterling, you actually misunderstood what I said. He had actually already lost his job. She didn't cause him to lose his job when he got arrested. He had already lost his job. And so that's why he was behind on the child payments. And so he always had a nice job. He's an engineer. He was an engineer. So he has never not paid his child support. So when he lost his job was when, with what we're talking about now, when he didn't go and say, I'm no longer making this kind of money, which he didn't do, which I don't know if he knew of it at that time. But Sterling also asked, beyond child support, what father skills training are available?
We have parent training classes every month. Everything from disciplining your child, shaken baby syndrome, healthy meals, how to prepare healthy meals, child developmental stages. So we have all types of financial literacy. We have all of that, budgeting. We have so many trainings that's available, all free. We don't charge for any training. So there's no excuse for a lot of guys not to come to training, because if you're a parent, we all know parenting is difficult. That's the most difficult job any of us will ever have. Right. So it's just like me, or it's just like of a person that buys a car. They want to know how to change the oil. They want to know how to do certain maintenance to their car. They go to those trainings and pay. So if I had a chance to get free training on parenting, I'm going to take that any day. They want to go to training for their cars, go to training for your child. I was just speaking with a group of guys 2 days ago. It was 10 guys. Every single one of them said they disciplined their kids differently. So there were guys listening. They was like, man, I never even thought of that. Or, you know what I mean? So these guys were teaching each other on disciplining. And getting back to what you were saying a minute ago, let me tell you something about these guys on child support. There's not one guy I ever met on child support that one day didn't love his baby mama or love her enough to have sex with her. Was lovey-dovey.
No, wait a minute now. He may have liked her. Well, anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He wasn't lovey-dovey to get in her pants and whatever. I ain't saying I didn't mean to say he loved her like that. Right. But there was a day they was lovey-dovey. Right. You know what I mean? So every single one.
Yeah. Hey, you and I both know we know.
He had the lines. He had everything. And she was looking, she made sure to look extra good for him too. Yeah. So there was a time, so I tell parents all the time, these young parents, older parents, all of them, there was a time that you all were lovey-dovey to each other. unless it was an abusive situation. We're not talking about it.
Right.
So I tell guys all the time, you know, and women we talked about. I like when women say, "This Haki, why he don't love me and Lil Malcolm?" Well, he don't even know you and Lil Malcolm. You met him Friday and had sex with him on Saturday.
Right.
Without condoms, without any protection. So what makes you think he gonna love you? And Lil Malcolm.
He don't know you.
He don't even know you. He don't even know you. I asked him, what's his name? Skeeter.
Well, you know what? I don't mean to laugh, but you know that's real.
Yeah. No. What's his government name? I don't know. Pookie. I mean, give me a break. They don't even know these guys' favorite color. What's his favorite color? I don't know. And then the guy, you having sex with a girl, once she puts you on child support, she a no good dog.
Right.
He's a bitch. But you don't want to lay down with her. If she wasn't a bitch then, what was she then?
Right.
She was a sweet Carmen. Right?
Right.
When you want to get in them drawers, but now you got her pregnant and she wants child support. Now she's no good. She's a maniac. She's crazy. So both young men and these young men and young women need to look at themselves before they start talking all this craziness about child support. It ain't one young man out there that don't know that if he has a baby, that he's going to be financially responsible for that child. You know, we can't make them be emotionally responsible. We can't make them be mentally responsible, but they gonna damn sure make them financially responsible.
Right.
And I don't know one guy, even these young and dumb ones, they still know that they're gonna be responsible for the finance of this child. They know this. And y'all women gotta understand they can't use childbirth as a career option. You know, they can't sit and think they're gonna get paid just for having these babies. So we have to talk to both young men.
Hey, Haki, I'm looking for a baller is what they be thinking too, you know, which is on another level. That's on another level. Looking for, you know, that's a whole nother level. But we're talking about the mindset.
And that's where when I speak to women, professional women, I tell them you need to don't worry about the men. Us men need to take care of these men. Educate them. The women need to educate these young women. You know, and that's what we need to empower these young men and these young women to help them make sound decisions about their bodies. Because I never heard of a girl getting pregnant by dry humping or walking past her. Something happened.
Hey. Don't think a brother didn't try though.
Yeah.
But you can say hi to Stephanie because she's watching too, so you can say hi to Steph.
Hey, what's up, Steph? Yeah, you know, I mean, seriously, the responsibility is on both these young men and women.
Right.
Because some drawers, some panties coming down somewhere.
Right.
And someone consciously did that. So they have to understand and accept the consequences.
And then it's strange, you know, sometimes when we think, because when you've had as many birthdays as myself to be blessed, man, it's strange, Haki, to think that a 31, 32-year-old is now a grandmother. It's just that's weird. You know, that's weird. I mean, that's weird to my whole concept to think that at 30 some years old, you now a grandmother. You know, and for now, it's just like, for some, that's like normal. And it's just like, it's nowhere close to being normal. You know?
You don't remember what I said last session? We have more grandmothers under the age of 30 now than we've ever had in my career. We have more grandmothers right now. I think we got about a total of 8 grandmothers under the age of 30.
Uh-huh.
So we have one grandmother, 28.
Wow.
So she had her child at 13, and the daughter had her child 13, 14.
Wow. That's
So
wow.
we get them more and more, man. We get them more and more every day. But people don't want to talk about them. They, just like we always say, this work not glamorous.
It's just
It
like
don't look
wow,
good.
wow.
It's
Now,
just not a glamorous profession.
okay, it's funny because I was talking to one of my friends who I grew up with in elementary school, and we talked from time to time. As a matter of fact, I was on the phone. Uh, I'm I'm from Jacksonville, and I talked to her for 2.5 hours because I hadn't talked to her in a while, and she's the person that when I see my phone and I see her name, I kind of hesitate to answer it sometimes, okay? Because she's the person who keeps me update on like who had passed away among our friends. Because sometimes she calls just to talk, but if somebody has passed, she's the one that usually call and say, "Hey, one of our classmates passed away." But so I hadn't talked to her in a while. And I love telling her stories. I love listening to her stories, and I can hear them time and time again. But Key, when you become of age, you kind of start to understand a lot of the dysfunctions as we speak, because a lot of it has to do with the dysfunction. And then, as she told an old story that I've heard, and then as I started to share the story, France was looking at me like, "That ain't normal. That ain't normal." But it was normal in my neighborhood. You see what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
so when you have to fight through all of that dysfunction, because as we were sitting there sharing the old stories again about a boyfriend who, no, actually this girl called her up and said, "Are you dating such and such?" And she said, "Yeah." And so to make a long story short, they both were seeing the same guy. But they didn't know it. But somehow or another, the girl I must have found, this was back in the day, there was no cell phone. She just called her at the house. And so she called the guy. And so the guy said, "What? She called you." Well, make a long story short, he went over to the girl house who called her, put her in a chokehold and beat her up. Then came to her house and talked her out to coming in. And she said, "Charles, something told me not to get in the car." And she said she got in the car, he pulled over, and she said Charlie was hit getting out of that car, because basically what he said to her, "I beat her up, I beat her for calling you, and now I'm choking you for you taking the phone call and listening to what she had to say." Now she's like 19, 20 years old. But when you listen to all of that madness and that dysfunction and that craziness, to get to a level of understanding some type of normalcy and maturity in what life and relationships are supposed to be about, I was thinking about you when she's telling the story, because it's you that have to fight through all this stuff and try to find a place of normalcy to try to help the people like her and myself come from places where there's so much dysfunction, and you have to try to find a place of normalcy to say, "You know what, this is not right. This is how you're supposed to live your life. This is the things you should be doing." And so it was funny that I was, the whole time that she's sitting there telling me the story, I'm thinking of you and the stuff that you have to deal with on a constant basis, because to a lot of us, it's normal when it's nowhere close to being normal. And like when I was on the radio show and we talking about physical relationships, and the caller called in and, "Well, it's not so, it's okay long as you get your licks in too." And everybody, there was like 4 of us around the table, looked at each other like, "All right, wait a minute. Hold it, sister, wait a minute. No, no, he shouldn't be hitting on you. It's okay if you get your licks." So when you deal with so much stuff, man, and you have to come up out of that madness, it's just like, wow. But it's normal to you, from where you from, is what I say. And you dealing with that. And it's just like you have to be a special person to be able to sometimes just sit and just go like, and I don't know if you ever had wild moments where you dealing with something in a relationship and you just be sitting there going, wow. And that's why I say I've been asking you that you should write your book. You should, because
I
I know
already
you got
wrote
lots of
3 books.
stories.
I wrote 3 books already, man.
No, I meant that book.
But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know what book I'm talking about.
It's just case by case. That's how I deal with it. I try not to lump everybody into the same category. I was just telling Ruben today of with the case I had with the I had to go to the baby's mother house, one of our fathers, several times. I went during the day, but they always, refuse to open the door. So, they don't even answer it. And so I said, okay. I mean, I see the cars in the driveway. I know they're there. So I just went at night when they had their lights on, cooking, talking. In the day you don't see the lights, but at night, then they shut the lights out. I just told them, look, I just saw you through the window cooking. So they finally let me in. Oh, we didn't know you was out there. Okay. So I just take case by case. We have the more serious abusive cases. I will go crazy because people often say, how you do mediation also? You deal with the fathers and then now you do mediation too. And I do family mediation. I said, I've been doing that over 20 years. So they said, you don't get a break from the stress. I just, when I do mediation, I do a lot of divorces, separations. And my thing is that I just feel that someone has to help these people know that they have to be adult enough to make decisions about their children and don't put the decisions in the hand of people who don't even know them. The judge doesn't know them. And once they get past the phase of thinking that it's going to be like Judge Judy and they're going to talk to the judge, oh, you wait, I tell the judge it. Once they realize that that's not going to happen, then they come to the realization that they put their child's life in the hands of someone who don't care anything about them or their children. Right. That's why I just let them know in mediation that you can not like each other too much. You can hate each other, but you still have this child together. And only you as parents would know better which one of your children, for example, like Halloween more than the others. Because there's always one parent that love to dress the kids up and go out trick-or-treating with them. Or which parent, the kid likes to be on their birthday.
Right.
Or, the parents know that. The judge don't know that. Only you know which one of the kids love to be at the house Christmas morning, getting up 5 o'clock in the morning, as opposed to 8 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So I just help them to understand that they have to make decisions no matter how upset they are with each other, no matter how much they disagree. And I always tell people, what's a successful mediation to me is when neither party is happy. That's when that's a successful mediation, because that means that they had to compromise. If I have a mediation session and someone walks out, yeah, man, I like him. Yeah, he was all right. And the other one said, man, I hate this mediation. It wasn't fair. That means that wasn't a good mediation. You didn't do your job. But when they both come out of there, how's the mediation? Oh, it was all right. How's the mediation? Oh, it was all right. That's what you want to hear.
Right.
Because that means they got something that they want and they didn't get something else.
Right.
Same way we work with these young parents. They have to learn to co-parent one way or another. That's if they care about their children. Because as soon as you don't make decisions, someone is definitely going to make decisions for you.
Well, see, again, then you will understand this. Back to and Sterling did make a comment based on what I was talking about, and he did say that unless someone teaches you differently. Basically, you only know what you know, and that's what I
Yeah.
was talking about earlier. How we what's normal to us, and then we try to come up out of that as we get older and realize how dysfunctional we really are, and then just just trying to find a place of peace in your life, and it takes time. And I know for you, Hakeem, man, it got to be difficult because, like I said, you run into so much dysfunction. But when you don't grow up and understand a normal relationship to the point of knowing how to disagree, knowing how to argue, uh, uh, when you don't see the mother and the father uh, react in what we call a normal way, and you see this, and you so too. I mean, it's just like, heck, I thought everybody grew up with roaches, because I grew up with roaches. So later on, you find out like, no, everybody don't. But from the world that I came from, so you think because of where you come from, that's how it is. And so once you become of age, and like I said, you start to understand, be like, man, it was, woo, Lord Jesus. It was so much dysfunction. And for some of us, we never come up out of that, and we still think that that's the way it's supposed to be. And I think that's kind of sad too, when you're not able to come up out of it or see something that helps you better understand what life is really supposed to be about, let alone not being able to deal with your anger, your frustration, whether or not you lost or whatever those things are. And so that's why I have to commend you a great deal more than what you know, because I can only imagine with a lot of the things that you see and that you have to deal with, let alone having to find the right words, dealing with all the different personalities, because what may work with someone in the words that you use may not work with the next person. So you have to try to feel your way on this person in their spirit, and what if, how can you talk to them? Because you have to deal with them just like coaching. When you're coaching, you got all the different personalities, and you have to try to push the buttons based on their personality to try to get through to them. So it takes a very special person, and you have to have patience. But the one thing that for every person, if you go talk to anybody, any of those young men, a men period, and if you go ask them, the first thing they gonna say, Mr. Key, he's serious. He's serious. So that's one thing that they know about you. They know you don't play. You see, you smiling and you laugh, but they know you a serious brother when it comes to those children. If they don't know anything else, they know you serious about that. And I can say that. I can say that for myself because I heard him say it.
That's why I do what I do, because, I want them to understand that, when you're talking about the lives of children, man, that's serious business. There's no time to play with that, because, our children are the most vulnerable. So they're the most vulnerable. So if we're not going to be serious about that, who are we going to be serious about?
Well, see, the funny thing is, like, I've never seen it while we're doing the show, and it's not on the show now, but I've seen the look. I've seen the serious look. So, so I know what the serious look like when you talking to him. We've never seen it here on the show, but I've seen the look when he give you, so I've seen the look.
Yeah.
So
you sat in some of those groups. You sat in some of those. Yeah, you sat in some of those groups.
Yeah. And so, and with that being said, Young Fathers of Central Florida just had last month the conference, and I wanted to ask you, have you heard or gotten any other feedback from the success of the conference? And kind of quickly tell the people who don't know about how this great conference that you had, because it was really great conference.
Yeah, we hold the only international teen and young fatherhood conference once a year in the month of February, the last 2 weekdays of February. And to answer your question, I've gotten calls every day since, because what I did was I partnered people together as accountability partners. So, for example, I just talked to Shane today. He just got back to Portland from another fatherhood conference. So, and I've been speaking to the team out of Tampa and Lakeland almost every other day. So I hooked Kristen in Lakeland, Sean in Portland, a young lady from Connecticut, and a gentleman, I forgot his name, I think they call him JR. He's from West Palm Beach. So I kind of connect people with teams. So I wanted them to communicate with each other throughout the year and not just wait to the conference next year to communicate. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we've gotten a lot of positive feedback from the conference and from the experience people have with meeting other people from across the country. So that's the purpose of hosting the conference, is to bring practitioners from across the country who work with teen and young fathers, or who would like to work with teen and young fathers. We normally get educators, counselors, healthcare providers, law enforcement. So we get people from different social service, human services area who come in contact with young fathers every day, whether they're professors or teachers, and they have young fathers sitting in their classrooms and they don't know what resources are available for them. So we just want to make a national network of resources so people don't always have to call me from across the country. For example, I don't know if you remember Quan Fish from Detroit. There was a group that came from Michigan that's maybe, I think, a half hour outside of Detroit. So I wanted to link them with Quan Fish so they can build a relationship, since both of them work with teen fathers. So, you know, that was the purpose of the conference. That is the purpose of the conference, is to help establish a stronger national and international network of teen and young fatherhood organizations and programs. And, you know, and let them understand that I'm not the only one, you know, that's working with teen and young fathers, that there's people near them, but they just don't know about them. So that's the purpose of the conference.
Well, we're getting ready to go into April, in which I know in the month of June you have your conference. Can you tell us a little about that that's coming up in June?
Yeah, June. Every year we have what's called Father's Week. This would be our 13th year hosting it. And what it is, it's the same time every year. It's the week leading up to Father's Day. So it usually starts on Monday and it goes to Saturday. And during that week, we're going to post all the events. The events are usually held at Callahan Community Center and J.R. Smith Center. And we might use, you know, the Jackson Center or a few others, downtown rec. But what we do is we provide an evening of activities, such as responsible fatherhood, mentoring, education, entrepreneur. So we usually try to invite employers who hire people who don't have 4-year degrees, because most often a lot of job fairs, they look for people who have degrees, but there's a lot of people who don't have 4-year degrees. So we like to invite people to that event. Entrepreneur, people who want to start their own business. We usually have people who have started their own business, give them the ABCs of starting a business. There's a lot of people out there, young people as well, who have great ideas of starting business, but they really don't have anyone to talk to it about. You know, right. Talk to, get advice. So, and then also education night we have, where those individuals who want to get back into school, whether it's to finish their high school diploma or get a GED or get into college.
Right.
So we try to have a week of activities where we can kind of get people in and have people who've been through what they want to, what they plan to go through, that been through it, and can give them insights on some of the obstacles that they can avoid.
Now, I mistakenly said that Sterling, but it was actually Steph, and she said, "Hi, big bro." It was Steph the one. It was actually Steph the
Yeah.
one that says that unless someone teaches you differently, it was actually her. So she did say, "Hi, big bro."
Okay, cool, cool, cool. That's my sis. That's my sis.
It is funny because she does well, we call it speed dating, but you call it speed. What is it that you call speed? Where they meet?
So, speed dating. Yeah,
Kind
it's
of,
like
kind of explain that.
um what we do. You know, like they have this. Excuse me, the speed dating. We call it what is it? Speed networking or something
Right,
like that.
right. Speed,
Speed
yeah,
networking.
speed networking.
Oh, yeah, the reason why I started that because it's like speed dating. You have the participants get the opportunity to speak with different people for I think it's 3 to 5 minutes. The reason I started that was because oftentimes you attend conferences, and if you're an introverted person, you might speak with 4 or 5 people in the entire conference, and it'll be 50, 60, 70 people, maybe 100 people. So I'm an extroverted person, so I normally talk to people, but everyone's not like that. So I wanted to give the shyer person the opportunity, kind of like force them in a way to talk to someone for at least 3 minutes.
Right.
And hopefully they get to about 5 or 6 people. So, and it's like I said, I wanted to do that to give people the opportunity. And I think that's one of the best times of the conference for me because it's one, I don't have to conduct it. Stephanie and Crystal usually handles it. Excellent. I can take a breather for a second because I know they gonna handle it right.
Right.
And I love all the talking and chattering and people just talking. I just love that.
Right.
You know, I hate going to conferences and people don't even talk. They just sit, listen to someone, give a spiel, break, go to the
Right.
bathroom, come back, sit at their table. They hug that chair for the whole conference. But I wanted to give them an opportunity. And that's why I like when you interview people.
Right.
So they get the opportunity at the conference to speak to other people, to get on camera if they want and do an interview, to express why they're at the conference, what they're learning. So I always wanted my conference to be more interactive and not just sit, listen, sit, listen, sit, listen, eat, sit, listen, sit, listen. Some people sit at the same table with the same people the whole conference. So I try to avoid that
Right. Yeah. Well, and see,
or prevent it.
and then and plus she brings out her beads.
Yeah, they got that handle, man. They got that handle. They are they got that handle. So and it's a good thing to watch because
Now,
people get something out of it.
right. Now you from time to time you ask and you talk about volunteering. One who if I hear about your program and I hear that you're looking for volunteers of mentors is what I meant to say, that you're always looking for mentors.
Mm-hmm.
And then what would you say to somebody who said, well, I really want to mentor, but I'm a little shy. I want to, but I don't know if the kids are like me, and what is it that you would say, one, about the mentoring, and what would you say for those who may be like trying to decide if they would like to do something like that?
Well, what I do is always invite them to ask questions. Um, Oftentimes, people have a misunderstanding of what mentoring is, and there's different types of mentoring. There's one-on-one, there's group mentoring. So we try to explain to potential mentors what the process is, how they select the mentee just like the mentee selects them. So we take them through a process, a 10-hour training where we discuss what mentoring is, what's some of the positives and negatives of mentoring. We give them an opportunity to speak with a mentor and a mentee. You know, speak to both of them. You know, ask questions, what it's like. I've even had mentors ask me, "Did you ever invite them to your house? Do you feel comfortable?" So, you know, a lot of them, I said, well, it's not like we going to get a bunch of criminals for you to mentor, but they ask those questions.
Right.
And, you know, some mentors, you know, they try to buy mentees things. I mean, the most expensive sneakers and all types of material things. So we talk to our mentors about the process and what they should expect. And all matches are not successful. You know, some matches don't work out. It's not the fault of either one, the mentor or the mentee. So we just talk to them and we let them know you don't have to be a doctor or a lawyer to be a mentor.
Right.
You know, I've had mentors tell me, "Oh, I don't think I make enough money." I said, "What do you mean? It's not a salary requirement. It's, you know,
Time.
if you're a father, if you're a father and you have the time to spend with the young man and just to be a support system for him, you don't have to fix them. It's not about fixing anyone. You know,
Right.
some guys think that, man, what if I can't fix them? Well, you know, you're not here to fix them. You know, and what I really like is how a lot of mentors, they get so much out of the mentee,
Right.
out of
That's what I
the
was. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
yeah,
The
they're
mentor
surprised.
probably gets more out of it.
Yeah, they're surprised how, you know, some of these young men have been through so much that there's a lot that you can learn. You know, as long as I've been doing this, I learn from guys every day something, because a lot of them been through things I can't even imagine.
Yeah. No. Right.
You know, so I mean, I hear things every day, and that's what makes me strong at what I do. Is that I hate to say, but a lot of my colleagues across the country, they don't even work with some of the young guys. They like, how can you still actually work with these young guys? They say, yeah. I say, yeah. You actually go down to the community centers?
Yeah.
I say, yeah. So, because they don't, you know, that's why the majority of fatherhood programs don't engage fathers till they're much older, 26, 27, because they always feel that the young guys are a big headache. They don't listen. I said, well, it's difficult. A lot of them don't listen.
Right.
A lot of them are knuckleheads,
Right.
but there are knuckleheads.
Right. Oh yeah. And,
We
and I
can't
was
give them away.
right. I was
We
just
can't,
having that conversation yesterday.
and they're children. And I
Right.
mean, and they have children. So whether they're knucklehead or not, they have a child. So us as men and women, we have to help them, just like we have to help our mothers. These are
And
young parents.
right. And one of the things that I also said to someone, it was Saturday, because they were talking about mentoring, and then I said, don't, because they're also working with foster children, and one of the things that I said, don't get frustrated, because it can become very frustrating, but I've had this, and I'm pretty sure you've had this happen too, that it's so funny because somebody comes back up to you 10, 8, 12 years later, and they'll say something to you, and you be like, you were listening? Because you had no idea at the time. It's the
All
most
the time.
amazing thing, and they'll say something to you, and you look at them, and you be like, you were listening, and you had no idea. So it's just like you plant that little seed, and you don't know when it's going to spurt, but it's just, and that's all that you can do, you know, because we
Man,
like to see it like
all the
right
time.
away.
I get that all the time. And there's a funny story. Remember we used to do the Dwight Howard camp?
Right. Uh-huh.
And I've had kids that was at that camp years later. That's Mr. Haki. He made pizza for us at the Dwight Howard camp. You know, like, I made pizza. No, we bought them pizza, but That's Miss Haki. He made us pizza at the Dwight Howard camp. So that kid remember that pizza
That must have
that
been
I
some
made
good
him,
pizza.
but he just remembered me. And but I get that all the time. And you get that, and it's rewarding when you, like you said, you realize people listen to you and they're doing well, or people that did bad and they still listen to you but said, see, I should have listened to you. So it's rewarding when young people get older. And just like I love when our guys we had, since we've been in Atlanta for 13 years, we have guys that's came to us as teens, now they're adults,
Right,
and they have families now, some married, and
right.
and that makes you feel good because you see that you impacted someone's life.
And
So
that's what it's about. Uh, the impact, and there's
absolutely.
no measurement to it. There's just an impact. And so I always tell you, man, I really appreciate the spirit that God gave you, and it's heartfelt, and you work hard, man. Do do you ever take a vacation? Do you ever take a
I haven't
vacation?
had one in a while. One
Well,
day, I guess.
you, you know, you should take a vacation, man. Well, really, seriously. I mean, seriously, you should take a little time off.
I mean, I'll go to a movie or something like that, but taking like 2 weeks off, I don't think so.
No, no, I didn't say 2 weeks. Just take a little time off. You know,
Well, I'm getting there, Chuck. I'm getting there.
yeah. Well, my thing. Well, whether you know it or not, my thing is my escape. I try to fish as much as possible. I
I
fished
know.
twice last week. That's my way of just having my peace of mind. I go fishing.
Right. All
Right.
right. I got you.
So yeah. So you got to get your little balance in there, man. To keep you
I
from
got it.
going crazy.
Man, it don't take a lot for me to relax my mind and to it's like I said, it feels good when you know when you can have a guy that's to tears because he was able to buy Pampers for the first time or something like that. That's
There you go.
relieves me. That relieves me. Or the kid, tell him, Dad, I love you. And the kid, just haven't even heard the mama say that to him. So,
Right.
hey,
Well, with that being said, I want to thank you so very much for going out of your way, taking the time to come on the Journey 2020. You give
okay,
out so
brother.
much information, and for those who would like to contact you for various reasons, how can they contact you?
They
Can
can
they go
leave a
on the
message on
web?
our website.
Yeah.
Yep. Youngfathersofcentralflorida.com. You can leave messages there. I get them. As soon as you send them, I usually get them right on my phone. So you go online, leave a message, I get it.
All right. All right. With that being said, I want to thank you so very much, man, and work on that vacation, okay?
All right. I'll see you soon, man.
Yo, oh yeah, Wednesday, right? Wednesday, right?
Wednesday. What's Wednesday?
Supposed to been lunch. Ah,
This Wednesday?
yeah, well, that's what you said last week.
Okay, cool. Cool. Cool.
Oh,
I'm glad you remind me. I'm
well,
glad you remind me.
well,
We just
if it's
gotta find a place.
if it needs to be another day, just let me know.
Okay, brother.
All right. Thanks a lot, Keith.
All right, take care.
All right, blessings. All right, well, you know it for a fact, and it is true. And I'm here to tell you that the brother is true to heart, and what he does is immeasurable. You can't put a dollar sign on it, and he makes a difference in so many ways. And I'm telling you, I've seen it, and to know the hard work and the dedication that goes into what he does 24/7. And I'm telling you that he does make a difference, and he's changing lives. And man, it's just unbelievable. I'm Charles Morris, and I want to say to you, coming up is the 16th annual What's My Anti-Drug Youth Summit that'll be taking place. We're actually having 2 summits this year, so you're going to have to stay tuned for that. We're having one in the month of May, which is Vision of Flights, and then we're having one in the month of July with Vince Carter Sr., which is called Sports is More Than a Game. So you got to stay tuned for that. If you go to the website, Youth Central YouthCentralConnection.com, you can find out more about that. But that's coming up. You're going to see more stuff coming up about both summits in the very near future. Also, you'll find out more about Vision of Flight. So as a matter of fact, let me educate you a little bit on Vision of Flight. So here we go, and here's Vision of Flights. Check it out.
Hello, my name is Mike McKenzie, and I'm the president of Vision of Flight. We're an aviation awareness program here in Central Florida that introduces the youth of our communities to the possibilities that exist for them in aviation and aerospace. This unique program teaches kids and brings them into an actual environment to where they can learn, comprehend, and hopefully passion towards some of the great possibilities and careers that exist in aviation and aerospace. As you know, we have great needs in our country, replenishing the infrastructure for our professionals. Here's where it begins. To find out more about Vision of Flight and what our program offers, our dates and activities, please visit visionofflight.org. We thank you and we welcome your support.
All right, you're going to be finding out more about Vision of Flight sometime real soon, and more about the summit that's coming up, the one in May and also one in July, in conjunction with Youth Central Connection. And also remember, every Wednesday night at 11 p.m. we have Youth Central Sports with the original Coach Carter, and that's at 11 p.m. So that's a lot of fun. Vince is no longer here in the Orlando area. I'm trying to talk him into coming back, but he's up in the Tennessee area in Nashville. And so 11 p.m. every Wednesday, Youth Central Sports. We're also on Twitter, Periscope, and Facebook, and YouTube. So make sure, as well as the Journey 2020, make sure that you also subscribe and you like us on Facebook and you follow us on Twitter, both the Journey 2020 and Youth Central Sports. Well, I'm Charles Morse. I want to thank Haki for always showing up here on the 4th Monday of every month. And remember, the 3rd Monday, we have Dr. Kathy Meeks. She is our sex therapist, and it's a lot of fun. And you can always ask us some questions. We won't tell anybody. So with that being said, you be blessed. Enjoy the rest of your week. I'm Charles Morse.